Yeah, welcome to AEM 303, Agrarian Institution and their Management. The topic of our discussion today will be on agrarian structure. That is topic 5. I hope you enjoy topic 4. Topic 5 will be very, very interesting. Stay put and listen. I am Dr. Helen, your first facilitator. Once again, our topic for discussion today is agrarian institution. Agrarian institution takes into account every conducive factors that is responsible for the sustained growth in agricultural sector. Agrarian structure involves the social, economic and technical elements that affect production in agricultural sector. These factors are used to measure the productivity level of farmers, the distribution of their income, and social position of rural populations. The agrarian structure also includes the process of land management and land tenure system. The integral parts of social agrarian structure that will be discussed in this unit or this lesson will be land ownership and the labor organization system. Economic agrarian structure is also referred to as the land management system. It is very important for a firm to be able to manage its resources to reap a good harvest. Technical and cooperation among developing countries in activities affecting rural development should be expanded as well in the course of this party, as well as unemployment. So the landlord who earns profit will not invest in agriculture. Instead, they use the money for buying materials, comfort. Majority of the population live under poverty. Majority of them lives under poverty and are unable and of this and are unable to pay the rigid taxes. The structure actually hinder progress in agricultural sector. It is difficult to change the land system with changing time. This system is institutional set up, hence it is not a good idea to alter this system within a short period of time because these people too they have their cultural interests, ethics interests, and power structure must be taken into account before any amendments are made. Let us look at the labor organization. This system governs the relationship between the labor and the landlords or landowners. So the labor pays wages to the landowner pays wages to the laborers against their work. As they employ them, okay, this is my land, come and cultivate this land. At the end of it, he paid them and away they go. So the rate of wage is determined by the landowners. The laborers have no right to say, this is how much I want you to pay me, especially where there is surplus laborers and also unskilled laborers. The landowners determines, come and wait this is how much I give you. Even when the laborers say, this is how much I will collect, they will still end up accepting what the landowners give because there are many of them there looking for the same job. So there are different types of laborers organizations. They could be family labor organizations, hired organization, or collective labor organization. So let us consider the family labor organization. This structure is the one in which the family itself works on the farm or the field and enjoy the fruits of the labor. So the working capacity of the family labor is determines factors on how much profit the family earns. That is depending on the capacity, how much they can work. They always endeavor to bear the loss incurred if there is any. So family labors, they endure and bear the loss as well incurred of labors. And then problem of family laborers organization. We have that's one of the problem is in this type of system is the size of the farmland. If it is a small farmland, then all members of the family will not have the opportunity to be engaged on the farm at the same time, which may eventually lead to underemployment. And as a result, the standard of living deteriorates. Then let us also look at the B part of it, that is the wage labor organization. There is a large number of wage labor organizations found in rural areas or regions of the developing countries like ours, Nigeria. The wage laborers owe their existence to the poor mechanization in rural areas of the developing nations. Due to the problem explosion and decline job opportunities, the ordinary people have no other option but to offer their labor against wages. So let us look at the different types of this wage labor organization. We have different types available. So the first one here is permanent wage labor. Permanent wage labor. As the name implies, they are usually found in large firms which can afford to keep permanent laborers. That is, they pay them in months, either monthly, and then they are also entitled to every other entitlement accrued to them. So they stand bound for the entire life, like they stay there and retired. They are paid annually. This relationship extends from a professional one to the personal. Then let us also consider the casual laborers. These are the time of laborers that these are laborers, they are time bound. They usually find work during the peak period, that is the farming season. Peak period, planting season, as well as harvesting period. That's when they will casual laborers. The owners will employ them, they work and they pay and they go. They may take up other paid work during the off season as well. This happens because of the population explosion. Then the next one here is agricultural labor owning small farms. This is another type of tenancy. Since the laborers in these categories lost their own land due to several reasons and are forced to find work in another field, they work on their own farm as well as take up another paid work to sustain themselves. There are some farmers who are actual farmers, but it's just because they don't have enough land. And then while working on their own, they know that it will not sustain them. They have to also look for jobs elsewhere, farm work elsewhere too, in order to be able to supplement their own personal, the one they have done, what they will reap in their own personal farm. Another one is colony. Colony. Colony is normally is a Latin American word. People practice this type of farming, which enable farmers to work in the field. These fields are given to them by owners. The colony, they work in this field. These fields are being given to them by owners, and then they work there for the fact that they will go and then work for the owners and then come back to their colony and stay. And then migratory workers. The fifth one is migratory workers. People belonging to a minority group often migrate, or rural areas often migrate because minorities, at least as a result of labor, they migrate to where they will be able to be gainfully employed to work. So they travel from distant places in search of this job and are employed by the owners of the land as wage laborers. Plantation labor. They are the most organized form of labor. They are more like the industrial workers. These workers sometimes practice subsistence farming. The condition in which their lives are poor with very little hope of advancement. That's plantation laborers, just like an industrial work. They also organize their own subsistence farming, but they work. And the only thing, the condition is that they are very poor because they have little hope. They don't think of expanding because they don't have the capacity to expand. Then the last but not the least is the bound laborers. This is a form of slavery, as the name bound implies. And it happens due to any kind of debt or obligation. They therefore decide to work in return to offset whatever debt they are owing. So the wage paid to them are very low and the interest rate is very high. You can imagine. And this form of bound is illegal and out of the farmers, that is, it's illegal and out of the farmers' power to do nothing. Even though it's illegal, but the farmers do not have any power to react because they don't know how to go about it. So what they did, however, the farmers are not in position to do anything against it. They are illegal. You said because they are owing you, you have to subject them to a lot of left work, and then at the end of it, receive nothing because they are owing you until they will be able to work till they pay, because that is when they will be let free. And capital. Let us first of all look at the land. Land is naturally occurring materials of the planet. It is used for the production of goods and services, including the land itself, the minerals and nutrients in the ground, water, wildlife and vegetation on the surface, and the air above. All those are in the land. The natural resources and materials of the land become the good produce. The goods produced, that those natural resources are the good produced from the land. Without these materials of the land, there will be no production. Without the nutrients in the land, the cultivations will not be possible. So production is the basic process of transforming these natural occurring materials that provide little satisfaction in their natural state to goods and services that provides more satisfaction. Land, by when all these are due, it just gives a little satisfaction unless they are being processed into other goods. The second one there is labor. Labor, as the name implies, is mental and physical efforts of human beings. That is excluding, it is a entrepreneurs organization is not included. It is the mental and physical efforts of human beings used for production of goods and services. Labor includes both the physical factory workers and farmlands, often associated with labor, as well as the mental efforts executed, executive and supervisors. They are all labors in an organization. Capital. The third one is capital. Capital, as the name implies, is the manufactured, artificial, or synthetic goods used in the production of goods. including machineries, that is capital, equipment, tools, buildings, and vehicles. These are capital. There are manufactured as artificial or synthetic goods. They are used in the production of other goods. This includes machineries, equipment, tools, building, and vehicles. Capital is the produce factor of production. As the produce factor of production. This factor must be produced using other factors of production, which means that society is often faced with the choice between producing consumption goods that satisfy wants and needs and capital goods that are used for future production. Without capital, labor will do all production by hand. So capital are used for production, without which the laborers, everything will be done by hand. Taking, for example, plowing of the land. So if tractor is not there, machineries are not there, laborers will plow it with using their own crude implements, with hoe. At long run, it will take a longer time before they will be able to finish their work. So the key role of capital in the production processes is to make labor more productive. Taking, for example, a land that can be cleared, that can use maybe 10 men to clear, with maybe using 10 men to clear in one week. One single man with the use of machineries can clear that same piece of land within a day. You can see it is a capital that makes labor ease the work of the labor. That is capital. Capital makes or ease the work of laborers and make laborers to be more productive. So let us also look at economic agrarian structure. We have seen the labor organizations, and then let's consider economic agrarian structure under agrarian structure. So economic structure is also referred to land management system. It is very important for a firm to be able to manage its resources to reap a good harvest. Man has been cultivating land since time immemorial with the use of labor and capital. The three elements that are land, labor, and capital are resources that man has to manage properly to be able to produce large quantity of crops, both to feed his family and also to fulfill his needs. So this now will take us to the modern agricultural scenario. In modern times, agriculture is considered to be economic activities. Yes, it generates resources, it generates income. It also leads to the economic growth of a particular area, of a nation or state. So in the past, man used to cultivate land only to feed himself and his family. But in late times, on economic value has also been attached to agriculture, where man produces not only for his immediate needs, but also to sell it in the market and receive some money so that he can utilize that money to invest in his agricultural activities. Modern day farming, that is modern day scenario. Modern day farming is well integrated with industrial sectors. It has become market oriented. Yes, it is for commercial purpose. It is considered to be an economic enterprise which is well planned and executed. Agriculture now is not only interplay of land, labor, and capital, but also a blend of numbers of other factors that are generalized outside the field. After production, they need to produce this food, process it into finished goods. Taking, for example, production of tomato. Then at the end of it, after harvesting the tomato, will be sent to tomato industry for processing into tin or pest or tin tomato and others. So the farmer has to get into business with supply and buying, and it becomes its responsibility to fulfill their wants. The agrarian structure should be developed in such a way that it could help the farmer to increase productivity. This is not possible for an individual farmer, yes. Hence, the other factors which are not directly involved in cultivation of land should also be well developed, like the credit providing institutions, credit facilities needs to be given to them. So farmer will be able to manage and optimize its resources only when he receives the required aid from the society and the government as well. So once the farmers can do this, they can also embark on commercial agriculture, which is the modern day. So let us look at the next one here is the technical cooperation. The technical cooperation. As we were saying earlier on, we said agrarian structure involves social agrarian structure, system of labor organization, land management system, economic agrarian structure, and technical cooperation among developing countries. So we are going to look at this, the last but not the least now, the technical cooperation among developing countries. Technical and cooperation among developing countries. So technical and cooperation among developing countries can be strengthened. We'll look at the ways in which it can be strengthened by government of developing countries. In order for the opportunity to be explored and exploited, government of developing countries should take the following actions. One of the actions is to establish cooperation among producers. They must establish a cooperation among producers, which including small-scale farmers and tenants and landless laborers, and the organization in regards to research on production, processing, and end users of agricultural products. There must be a clear relationship among these, the producers as well as the end users of agricultural products. Then they also have to exchange information on future prospects for individual commodity markets and coordinate national production policies as far as visible to advance future imbalance, that is future imbalances such as risks that in themselves, such as surplus and also demand, steam and inward market and improve returns to producers. So the government of developing in nation should make sure that they are they supply the farmers, the producers with the needed information on the available markets, community markets, on the government policies, on national policies, on also how to avert imbalance or risks, future risks or uncertainty, and also to guide against excess supply. To guide against excess of raw. We know when there is surplus supply in the market especially during harvesting period, there is that tendency that the producers will not make a huge profit. Some of them will end up operating at a loss because what they do, especially when they produce highly perishable goods, what they do when that goods are being so surplus in the market, they want to make sure that they dispose their goods with the little amount of money that the consumers will offer for them so that they can go without allowing those things to be wasted. At the end of it, they end up not making much profit or they would only break even. Also, they also help to promote among nations, national institutions, the exchange of experience and experts gain in implementing programs of agrarian reform and rural development, including the establishment and strengthening of regional institutions for research and training. They will undergo training They also maybe send people on training from one time to the other in order to help them improve their production capacity. Also promotes through national they also promote through national research institute and interchange of technology for agriculture, rural industry, energy, construction of housing, and other elements of infrastructure, as well as other subjects related to rural development. The fifth one is that they establish the more effective capacity for exchange technology among developing countries, where similarities of natural conditions and social systems may offer techniques and solutions that are more appropriate than that could be imported from developed countries. They will also ensure equitable distribution of gains among countries and improve the relative position of most depressed among them by providing or promoting every form of specialization among producers. They also make sure that they encourage specialization among producers countries. So processing and manufacturing activities based on primary products with due to regards the desirability of overall complementary. So they have to also promote this. Where this one produce, whatever this one produce, this one can help in processing or also turn it to finished goods as well. So the rules of the relevant organization of United Nations system and other international that also promotes the rules of the relevant organization of the United System and other international organizations in gathering knowledge, information, and experience of developing countries and disseminating such materials among developing countries. And also, this disseminating should also be strengthened of this information, should also be. In conclusion, the social agrarian structure includes the land ownership and labor organization system. It has to be noted, however, that every labor organization has characteristic features which are commissioned to the family and wage labor class, in that they cannot be united, and because of this they suffer. Economic agrarian structure is also referred to as the land management system. It is very important for firm to be able to manage its resources to reap a good harvest. The three elements that are land, labor, and capital are resources that man has to manage properly to enable to be able to produce large quantity of crops, both to feed his family, also to fulfill his needs. Technical and cooperation among developing countries in activities affecting rural development should be expanded. Joint measures should be taken to expand among developing countries, as well as to improve condition of trade for agricultural products in international. Summary. In this lesson, factors affecting land tenure system were enumerated, and problems associated with the land tenure system were also highlighted. We have learned about labor organization that is family and wage labor. We have also discussed on the different types of wage labors. Efforts were also made to identify factors of production and discuss the implication of each factor identified. The modern agricultural scenario was also discussed. The agrarian structure should be developed in such a way that it will help the farmer to increase productivity. We have also learned about the areas in which technical and cooperation among developing countries can be strengthened. Thank you for listening. I am Dr.